What's going on, YouTube? It's Gambini the Gunman here. I'm going to be doing a AR-15 cleaning video, and this is for anyone who's new to the AR-15 platform. It's always good to keep your guns cleaned and oiled after you shoot it at the range, and I just want to take you guys through a couple steps that I do to clean my AR-15. Now, it may not be how you do it, but this is how I do it. And I'll show you the tools that I use, the oils and the solvents that I use, and hopefully it'll be something educational to all of you guys who are considering buying a AR-15 in the future, or you already have one and you haven't cleaned it yet, you just shot it a couple times, or you haven't even shot it. So let's get to it. Now, YouTube is very strict on breaking down guns and assembling guns, but I'm just gonna put this message out there for a little disclosure. This is an educational video. I'm not trying to show anybody how to manufacture a gun. I'm just gonna take it apart and clean it and put it back together. So that way, anybody who's new, who comes to the platform, this AR-15 platform, they'll know what to do and how to safely clean their rifle. So always, first things first, let's make sure it's clear. It's very clear. You can see right there. Hopefully you guys can see it. I have a weird angle. I'm gonna order a stand for my camera. There's no magazine in here. So the first thing you wanna do is push this tape down pin right here. And you wanna push the other one. Push it all the way through. And then you'll take your hand, you pull that pin out, and you pull this one out, and the gun should come apart, okay? Now this is a lower with the buffer tube in it, okay? As you can see, it has a lot of oil in it, but I fired it maybe about 100 times today. I put about 100 rounds through it today, and I just like to keep myself clean. I don't want any carbon buildup to where if I have to use this for self-defense, it'll jam up or whatever, okay? So we're gonna clean all that out and put some fresh oil in there. And we have our bolt carrier group, which is the heart of your AR-15. That's where it gets real dirty. And then you have your charger handle, okay? Now I'm gonna set this to the side. This is my upper. We're gonna get inside there and clean too. I probably won't clean the barrel, like run a bore snake through there, because then I have to take out this muzzle brake. In California, we have to have a muzzle brake if we're to go on featureless, not a flash hider. So I don't have any crush washers, any extra ones, and plus I don't feel like doing that. I didn't put that many rounds through it. So we're gonna set that to the side over here. And some of the tools that I got with me are, I have this AR-15 cleaning kit. I bought this from a local gun store. It came with a lot of tools. I use a lot of it over time. I have my brushes, okay? And someone in my comments suggested that I get a new wire brush, and I did. Thanks for looking out. I was using the same old wire brush, and it was a mess. So whoever said that, thanks for raising that awareness to me, and I got one. So there you go, brand new. Okay, then you have your patches. If you don't have patches, you can take an old t-shirt and just cut it up, clean it, and use it for cleaning patches. It works just the same. You don't have to pay 15, 20 bucks for a pack of cut up patches that you could easily, manufacture out of old t-shirts. But I have these, they work good. And Ballistol, I like to use Ballistol just to break up some of the carbon. I know it already have lubricants, inside of it, but I don't use it just to lube my gun. And I bought me some more Hops bore cleaner. This solvent breaks up carbon and oil good. And this one, I'm almost out, and it looks dirty on the inside. So I bought some more today. And this AR-15 gun oil, I love this stuff. It's called Strike Ultra Gun Oil, powered by XPLC. And I believe it's in the Venom line, because where they had it in the store is like a big old snake, a venomous snake and all that stuff. So it works good, smells good. And as you can see, it stays in the gun good. It keeps the gun lubricated. So I love this stuff. I highly recommend this. It smells like new plastic to me. It doesn't even smell like oil. You know, some of that oil, the gun oil, it'll fume up your whole house. You got to open the windows. This doesn't do it. So there we have it. This is all my cleaning supplies. And I use a brush to get into the kinks of the gun on the AR-15 and just get it nice and oiled up. So first things first, the bolt carrier group. This is like, in my opinion, the heart of the gun. And in order to get this thing clean, and you want that a little bit of resistance in your slide right here. In order to get this clean, you have to take it apart. And it's fairly simple. One thing that you want to make sure you have in your bolt carrier group is stake pins. Right here, you can see they put a little divot in here. And this is a fully automatic, it's a full auto bolt carrier group that I ordered from Palmetto State Armory. It works great. It keeps my gun cycling right, and it was a good investment. So first things first, I'm gonna take this little pin thing and I'm gonna release the firing pin in the gun. And you're gonna see how dirty this firing pin is just off of like 100 rounds, okay? So you don't wanna lose that part. If you lose that part, your gun's not gonna fire. You know, it's not, your firing pin's not gonna be held in place. It's just gonna be loose. It's gonna bounce around in there and your gun's not gonna fire. So we're gonna set this to the side. We're gonna clean that too, because as you can see, it's already dirty, and look at all that gunk on my hand. So we're gonna set that to the side, and we're gonna bust this apart. There it goes, the firing pin came out. And look at all that carbon. That is a lot of carbon. I mean, a whole lot of carbon. So we wanna make sure that gets clean, because you want your firing pin to just cycle freely with very little resistance, you know. You don't want any carbon buildup. That stuff dries up and then it won't fire right, okay? And I forgot what this is called, so you gotta turn that little knob right there and pull up on it. It'll come out. It's always good to clean that as well. We're gonna set that to the side next to the firing pin and the firing pin retention pin. It's a lot. Say that 3 times fast. And this right here, this is a key component of your bolt carrier group. This is where the firing pin comes out and strikes the bullet. So we're gonna clean that very, very thoroughly, so that way it'll cycle smoothly, okay? Let me grab something real quick. I need like anytime you clean your firearms, you want to have some rags present, because as you can see, your hands will get dirty fast. You get a lot of carbon buildup. So what I'll do is I'll take this rag, which I normally use to wipe off carbon. As you can see, even though I washed it, there's still carbon stuck on there. And there's a lot of lead and copper and all that other good stuff from the gun. So you wanna wipe that off real good, just to get some of that oil off, so that way your solvent can bust through the rest of it. So you wanna wipe that off, set it to the side, wipe this off, set it to the side, and your firing pin. They have this one thing that's called a bone tool, and it'll break up all that carbon right down in there. I want to get one of those, but they're like 40 bucks. So I'll just use something hard like a knife or something for now. I'm not into buying unnecessary stuff that costs money, that I could use that money for ammo or, you know, just different things. And but it's good to have. If you have one, you know, it works. I saw it work. I think Hickok 45 talked about it. He showed it on one of his shows. So you want to wipe this down a little bit, just to get some of that excess oil and carbon off, so that way your solvents can do its job and bust through the little cracks and crevices of it and get your gun fresh. And the firing pin retention pin. I'm gonna wipe that off a little bit. Be sure not to lose your parts on the AR-15 because it will not function. And plus you don't wanna have to go search for parts, and if the stores don't have it, you gotta order it, and you just can't have fun with your gun until you get all your parts in. So I'm gonna take this same rag, I'm gonna wipe right here, get some of that stuff off. I heard that it's good to oil your pins, your takedown pins. So there's oil on mine. I want to wipe that off because carbon gets everywhere. This thing, AR-15s are good guns, but they get dirty fast. That ammo is very, very dirty. So you want to make sure that you get it clean. So what I'll do next is I'll take Ballistol. Shake it up a little bit, spray down in there. So that way, I don't know why I did the mag well, but oh well. Sometimes you make mistakes. And you spray that in that Ballistol, this stuff stinks. You know, if you're sensitive on smells, you want to open the window a little bit. Now, anytime you're dealing with an AR-15 platform or AR-10, do not let your strike hammer hit this part of your lower because it will break. So always make sure that you know, it doesn't fall forward, or you pull the trigger to test it out and it hits that that little block right there because it will break. Okay, we're gonna set that to the side. Well, I don't wanna set it to the side yet. I wanna take some of this solvent right here, this bore cleaner. There's very little in there. So I'll take my clear brush, get it wet a little bit, and I'll put some solvent on here just to bust loose some of that oil, that excess oil, and you know, keep my gun functioning well. The solvent's kind of strong. A lot of people use CLP, but I like hops. I've been using it since I got into firearms, and it works for me. So whatever you want to use it. If it works for you, it works for you. Okay. Now I want to bring this forward. So what I'll do is I'll put it on fire, and I'll pull the trigger, but I'll let it go with by guiding it with my hand. So that way I can get in here, break some of that excess oil and carbon up, and you know, just get your gun nice and clean. So that way when you oil it, you won't have any problems, no blockage or anything. Now some people, what they'll do is they'll take out the buffer tube to clean it, but I already cleaned it the last time I did it. I'll do it every 500 rounds. So I don't need to take that out. And if you want to take that out, there's videos. If you want to learn how to take it out, there's videos on how to do it. You just push this pin down and it'll come out. But guide it with your hand because it will fall, it will shoot across the room. There's a big spring in there, and that will fly all over the place. But you can wipe that down. You don't need to put any oil on that. And just take your rag right here and just, you know, wipe off the excess lubricants and solvents, whatever. I shouldn't have sprayed that with Ballistol. I wasn't paying attention. Always pay attention. So we're gonna set the lower to the side, and we're gonna focus on the bolt carrier group, okay? Now, this part right here, you don't wanna lose either, because this holds the firing pin together, and this holds the firing pin in place, okay? So what you wanna do is you'll take a little bit of solvent, or you can use a Ballistol spray, and you could just use the brush, just clean it, make sure you get all the little spots in there so that way you could break loose any carbon. Okay. You can set that to the side after you wipe it off with your rag. People think that AR-15s are like, you know, difficult to clean because it's a big gun and, you know, it's a lot of parts too, but really this is the heart of your gun. And if you keep this clean, your gun will function just fine. And I've had my AR-15 for a little bit over a year, and I never had any hiccups. I can honestly say that. No jams, no failure to feeds, no nothing. It just runs. Because every time after I take it shooting, I take time to clean it. Consider your guns like your car, like your vehicle. I mean, if you don't have any oil in your car, your engine's gonna lock up. You're gonna need a new car, basically. So you wanna take this, see these washers, they have to be, make sure they're good. Always inspect your gun when you're cleaning it. When you take it down to clean it, inspect your gun, make sure those washers are good, because if not, it's not gonna cycle right. And you don't wanna be in a situation where, you know, you're in a self-defense situation and you have to use this is your only gun, and those washers are worn out and your gun's not gonna cycle. I think they're called gaskets. You can look it up. I just call it washers for tonight. And get in there a little bit. This is where a lot of carbon and oils get trapped into these little grooves right here, so you want to make sure you clean that out real good with the solvents. Use your brush. And you don't have to buy an expensive brush. You can buy a toothbrush, but you do need a wire brush eventually, because that'll really break up the stuck carbon and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna set that to the side, do this one more time. Now, the firing pin looks like a nail, but as you can see, pull out my handy dandy knife. There's a lot of carbon deep down in here. That's what that bone tool is for. So you can just take that. I want to wet it first so I get a little, so it'll ease up the carbon. It'll break it loose. You could take your knife or your bone tool and just scrape away some of that carbon, so that way it won't clutter up, and then your firing pin will get stuck or break or whatever the case may be. And you don't have to do this all the time. I mean, but it's a wise thing to do. You know, firing pins are like 15 bucks, but who wants to spend that money on something that you can preserve, you know? The goal is to save money. So we'll do that, see, nice and clean. And I'll hit it one more time. Break it up a little bit more. Just to do that. And normally what I do is I have like a video playing in the background, or, you know, listen to some music just to relax. It's relaxing to me. I like doing it because when you clean your guns, you get to know all the parts in your gun. You get to know how to maintain your gun and keep it up to par and intact and running and all that good stuff. So it's always good to just clean your guns, guys. Don't let them go. Don't let them sit in the safe too long and get dust. And if you live in warmer climates, you got to make sure that, you know, it doesn't rust. I know a lot of people in the South, they deal with a lot of humidity, so they have to make sure that their guns don't rust and all that good stuff. So it's just good to, you know, it's good to do. You paid a lot of money for these guns, and you want to keep them for a while. You want them to run. You want to be able to enjoy them, you know. So I'll take a little solvent and do that right there. Now you don't have to do this, but this is how I do it. I want to get into these holes because that's like where a lot of gas comes out. AR-15s deal with a lot of gas from the bullets. And I'll just scrape it down just like that, okay? Now, what I want to do now is I want to do the same thing, but with the wire brush. Got a double-ended wire brush. I'll use the small one for the small parts, like the retention pin for the firing pin. I'll get in there and just, you know, work some of that carbon off of there, because that builds up a lot, and it builds up fast. So I'll get through those cracks, and you don't want to split it open. Please do not do that. I mean, this pen is probably like 50 cents to $1, but you don't want to have to deal with all that stress of finding it. The key thing is you got to find one. And I'm sure a lot of gun stores carry it, but some of them don't. I seen, when I was first building this gun, I was talking to one of the workers at my local gun store, and they didn't have a lot of parts, especially after the pandemic. You know, there's supply shortages, and then you gotta wait. That's just, it's unnecessary to go through. So, you know, and right here, I'll do that. And you really don't need that AR-15 kit, but since I was new to guns, I was like, why not? You know, I want the best for my guns. So what I'll do with that is I'll get the kit, and this was like $34. And as you can see, it's good for 223 and 5.56, which is the same caliber, but you know, your barrel could be designed to shoot 223 wild, and it'll only shoot 223, or you have a 5.56 barrel like I do, and it shoots both calibers. So you take your kit, you get all that little nice fancy stuff running. The charging handle, you can wipe it off. You don't have to put solvent on it, but I like my guns clean, and this is just something that I do. So I'll just take a little bit of solvent, that's kind of a lot, but I'll just rub it on just to make sure that it's clean and functioning well. So when I go to charge around, I have no issues. I've seen a lot of different designs on these charger handles, like Radiant Raptors, and they're like 80 bucks. Maybe one day I'll do it. The cool thing about AR-15s is you can always change the parts out and see a lot of carbon gets up in there. So, and right in here too. So the cool thing is with AR-15s, like I was saying, you could change out the parts. You can put different colors, different features on it, and you know, you can put high end or you can go a budget route. And I like to stay the budget route because practicing is more important. So I'll invest in ammo more than I would, you know, high end parts. But who knows? One day I might get the desire to buy like a Radiant Raptor, but this one works fine with me. It's ambidextrous, and I paid what, 18 bucks for that. So why not? Not why, huh? So you just want to wipe that off, set it to the side. Now, I saw a video where some guys, they'll put a drop of oil in those pins right there just to keep them running smooth, so when you charge it back, you know, it'll be smooth. Because those pins are like metal or something, they'll rust up too. So you just want everything to run right. So, and that right there, the gas tube in the upper goes in there. So you want to make sure that it's free of, you know, excess carbon. And we'll set that to the side. Now I'm going to take one of these. The cool thing about this kit is it comes with these rods that you can clean your gun with, and they're pretty sturdy. I messed one up. I was in a rush, and I was cleaning my gun for the first time, and I bent the little tip right there, but you could attach them just like that, and then attach them to a handle. This is mainly for when you clean the barrel. Okay. But we're not going to use all that right now. All I need is this right here, and this brush, this wire brush right here. It got a little lint from the cotton swabs and all that from last time, but it still works. It's still pretty spiky. So what I'll do is I'll attach it here, put a little solvent on it. Now this is where a lot of gas gets in your gun, right up in here. Get that out the way. So what I'll do is I'll run this through there to break up some of that excess carbon, and it'll feel like it's getting stuck a little bit, but you don't want to jam it in there. Just break it up just a little bit and then put some more solvent on there. Run it through one more time. Okay. And you could do it for this one too. Just to break that up a little bit in there. You don't want this to break because then you have to replace all that and it probably costs more than a bolt carrier group. You can even get a high-end bolt carrier group where it has a like company logo on there, which I see is pointless. You know, but if you want to be fancy with your gun, your first build, go ahead. It's your gun. Do it how you want to. There's a little carbon buildup right there. And you just want to check your gun. You want to inspect your gun, make sure everything's tight in here. These pins right here. You want to make sure this isn't shaking. You want to keep it clean a little bit. That's where the firing pin goes. And we'll run some patches through there. Okay, so I want to take this and run it through where the firing pin is, since that gets extremely dirty over time. And just break up some of that. This is where the longer extension rod comes in. It comes in handy. So you take that, and there's all type of different AR-15 cleaning kits. You can even get them from Amazon, but they come with a lot of tools. So be prepared to at least pay about 40 bucks. You're not gonna pay anything less. At least I haven't seen that. So I'm gonna run that through there just to break up some of that carbon where the firing pin is. And run it through here. So that way when my firing pin is in there, it's free from all the gunk and stuff. So if you got excess solvent on there, just take your rag and wipe it off. Set that to the side. Okay, I'm gonna close this for now, set it to the side. I'm gonna grab a patch. Now, some people want their guns to be squeaky clean. I never got it to that point because by this time I'm already like, okay, I'm pretty much done. I don't want to deal with it. Let's see. So what I'll do is I'll take this right here. It comes with the tool kit. Remove this. Since I already broke the carbon loose in here, I'll put this on it. Run this patch through there. And I know this may be a boring video to some, but you know, when you learn stuff, you got to go through some boring lectures. You know, just like in college and in high school, you got to go through a tutorial if you want to learn something and learn it right. So a lot of people do it faster. I've seen like videos where like guys like Coolio Noir, they did theirs extremely fast, and he was just giving an example of how he does his when he's doing a competition or whatever. He wants to make sure it's oiled and ready, so he'll do it within like 5 minutes just to make sure it's running properly. So I'll take this, add solvent on it, and I'll run it through, twist it up a little bit, and look at some of that carbon coming on there. And that's why it's important to like break it apart with that wire brush right there. And then I'll run it through here. Check that out. One wipe. That's how much buildup you can get. And I only shot 100 rounds at the most. And that's crazy. But you know, it happens. The ammo's dirty. And check that out. So after a while, if you're shooting like 200-300 rounds per range visit, you're gonna have a lot of carbon built up. So you want your guns to run, you know. Now I do see some of the wire brush bristles on there, but that's fine. I'm gonna show you how I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, this patch, it's done. Absolutely done. I'll take a clean patch with no solvent and I'll run it through again. Just to get those, bristles out of there. Some people may not run bristles through there, but I want to make sure that I got all the spots in there. And I'll take it right here and I'll run it through. And it's still dirty. Like I said, you're not going to get it clean. I talked to a soldier today, a veteran, and he was, I was asking him about this oil that I was about to buy. And he was like, look, we just use CLP. We do it real quick. As long as it's oiled and running, we're good to go. We don't spend a lot of time doing it because we have to be out in the field. And that made a lot of sense. So guys, if you're looking at this high-end oil and, it says it's military grade, it's not true, man. It's, for the most part, it may work good, but they don't use that. They really don't. And I'll take that. I'll run it through just a little bit. It sounds like I'm pressing hard, but I'm not. It's just metal to metal. See, now I got stuck. You gotta deal with that with these. Oh shit. Okay, so I want to pull some out. There we go. Not too bad. And if you want to run it through again, you can. So let's do it one more time. Take one patch. Like I said, if you got an old t-shirt, use an old t-shirt. Some of these patches I seen in the store, they're like $10, $15. You don't need that. I got this one for $5. It was on sale, so I just wanted them. I was new to the platform at the time. But when these run out, you can guarantee that I'll be using a t-shirt. So it's up to you. It's what you want to do. It's your gun. And you can clean it however you want it. Make sure that's tight. We're gonna run it through again. Just to make sure that that firing pin has the freedom to move. It'll flow freely. You don't want it to be all gunked up and stuck. Okay, so you can take that off, wipe right here, get that excess stuff off of there. And that's pretty much it for that part. Now, what I do like to do, and I'm not sure if it's recommended, I seen it one time when they were cleaning the boat carrier group, was to just take a small patch. Well, you could take a Q-tip and run it through there. That's the smaller, thinner patches. You don't want a real thick patch on that part. So you take these thin little wafers and do the same thing for that area where the gas goes through. And the gas is coming from the bullet, and that's what helps extract it and everything else. It's the science behind it, so, do your research. I'll take some solvent. Now you guys can see why I got some new solvent, because this one looks kind of dirty. But I'll take this. Now you don't want to oil this area. You just want to clean it out real good. And that's not a good tool for it. What else can I use? Well, I don't have a Q-tip, but I'll just let some of that run in there. So that way some of the liquids will get in the chamber of that, and it'll clean it itself. And then just look at that. That's extremely dirty. And I'll just take that patch and I'll make sure I clean it all out. Now there's some high-end boat carrier groups, like I said a few minutes ago, and if you want to pay that, pay it. If it makes you feel more comfortable with having more high-end parts, do it. It's your gun. I think I paid about $109 for this. And this is my first AR-15. Now the next build I do, or when this one goes out, I might decide to pay a little bit more or keep it in the same price range. But look at that. It's always dirty. AR-15s are always dirty. You can guarantee that. So you don't have to spend a lot of time cleaning it like I do. But, you know, it's what I do. So I'll take the rag, wipe it off. Now, everything is clean on the bolt carrier group. I broke away most of the carbon. So now what I want to do is I want to put it back together so I can reassemble it in the gun. Now, I do recommend taking a wire brush. What did I do with it? Here it is. Let's put a little bit of solvent on the wire brush before I reassemble the bolt carrier group. I do recommend cleaning inside these grooves right here. And always, this is an important thing too when you do maintenance on your AR-15. You want to make sure that these are intact. If they're chipped away, you got to get a new one. Okay. If this is broken or not sealed right, you got to get a new one. If the washers are loose or whatever, you got to replace them. Okay. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just scrub in there, break away some of that carbon, the carbon that I can't see. And this brush will do it. It'll get the job done. I'm glad I did buy this brush because my other one of my subscribers was like, dude, you need a new brush. And I looked at it when I cleaned my guns the last time. I was like, he was right. I didn't even pay attention to it, so thanks. Shout out to that dude. You know who you are. So yeah, you just want to inspect that. It took some of the color out, but who cares? As long as it worked. And that could be carbon. You know, I've already put rounds through this. You want wear and tear. You want to make sure that your gun is functioning and everything. And also too, a lot of carbon will get built up right inside there. So you want to like get that off. So you could use a knife, or if you have that bone tool, and just don't cut into it, but you know, just break it apart. And as you can see, it's on the knife. Okay. So just get that excess carbon off, and that way it'll be clear and it won't get stuck on you or malfunction. Okay, so that's that. Make sure those are lined up. They have little divots in there. And what I'll do is I'll take this, the soft brush. It already has solvent on it. I don't have to keep dipping in there. Just get in there a little bit. Now, you want to make sure that your bolt carrier group is magnetic particle inspected. So you'll see right here, it says MPI, magnetic particle inspected. When you buy a bolt carrier group, just make sure that it's magnetic particle inspected, because that's like the toughest grade aluminum or metal that you can get. And you don't want it to be not inspected magnetically, because then it might lock up or seize up or whatever. Okay, so that's that on that part. We could take the wire brush on this too, just for learning purposes. You want to get in there. See, I dropped it. If you want to get in there and do that, you can. So, you got to be careful with your parts. They will fly completely out of your hand. So that's pretty much clean. I'll hit it one more time. You know, you could take a Q-tip or something, go in there, but you don't really need to. Okay. Now we're ready for reassemble. So what I want to do is I'm gonna take my firing pin right here. First, I'm gonna put this in. Now I want to put a little bit of this oil on here, so that way I can it'll be lubed up. So you can put like a drop. Do not wet your gun up. AR-15s. A lot of people say, "Oh, you got to wet it up," and, you know, all this other stuff, and you just put a little drop right there and rub it in with your fingers. They don't run good wet. They just don't. They run hot, but not. They run good, you know, when they're hot. I don't know what I'm saying. Anyways, they run hot, but you don't need a lot of lube. That's it. It's late at night, you guys. You guys don't know what time it is right now, but I'm shooting this. It's after midnight, so I just figured I'd record this real quick. So you want to hit that real quick. Do not put oil inside there. Some people will say, well, wet your gun up. That's not true. You don't have to do that. So what I'll do is I'll lube it up a little bit, enough to get it just right. And I'll line this up. This hole right here has to line up right here. Now, you can't test these to see if they're good or bad by doing this. If that flies out, I mean, you have a bad bolt, and you need to replace this right here. Okay. And where's my brush at? There it is. I'll put a little oil on this brush. Makes it faster when you're lubing your parts. And I'll hit this part. You see, it's about to fly out my hand again. I'll hit that part. And whatever's left on my finger, I'll put it on there. It doesn't have to be wet. So you line that hole up right in there, because this is going to go in there. Okay, and it should drop in just like that. Now you'll take your firing pin. Now some people put oil in their firing pin. You don't really have to, but if you want it to last, because it is going through there, just hit it a little bit with oil from your brush or with your fingers. You don't have to dip it in oil and let it sit. It's not going to do anything. Okay, so you drop this in from the top. And it should drop right in there. And you could just line that up. You could turn that and it'll go all the way in. Bam. Now, one thing I did forget to do was, and I'll show you guys since the firing pin came out. I don't do this all the time, but sometimes I do, but I don't want my gun real wet. And since I put some oil right here, it's fine. You can put oil on a patch right here and just run it through there, but I already got oil on this, so it's good to go. Line that back up. Now I don't want to cooperate. Just like that. Drop it in there, turn it so your firing pin can go through there. You can either put it through here, but it's better to just drop it in. Now, you'll take this, your retention pin, put a little oil on that. Just a little bit from your brush or your fingers if you have some, and put it in there. And that'll hold your firing pin in place. See, it's not falling out now. It's in place, and there it is. Nice and smooth. And your firing pin's not gonna come out because the pin's right there. Also, if you want, you can take some oil, put it along here. On this side. And I saw a few videos where they put a drop in here, in those two holes. It keeps the gasket oiled up. And then the excess, take your finger, rub it on there, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in, rub it in. And that's it. You don't have to do anything else. You don't even have to put it back here because really you don't need this part to be oiled. But, you know, you want to put it where the wear marks are. Like there's some wear marks right there. That's where it's cycling in the gun. So I'll put one more drop in there. And I'll take the brush because it got some oil on it. And I'll just rub it in right there. That's it. And I was talking about those 2 pins, not this one. That's where the gaskets are. And just rub it in. And if it's too much oil, and you don't want all that to be on your inside your gun, you take your rag and, you know, just dab it a little bit. Set this to the side. Your bolt carrier group's done. Make sure you don't have any loose parts. You shouldn't, because you just shouldn't. Set that to the side right there. Now, your upper. It's the easy part. I'm going to do a quick clean on this because I don't want to take off my muzzle brake to clean inside the bore. Like I said, I didn't do a lot of shooting today. I did enough to get the gun dirty. See, that's the gas line that runs and connects to this. So you want to make sure that's, you know, clear. So what you'll do is you'll take this brush or a rag. I prefer a brush because it can get into that small space. Put some solvent on it. This is a quick part, quick and easy. And just clean it. Because there's a lot of oil and debris in this area. So you just want to clean it with the solvent. Now, what's cool about this kit that I bought is it has, and I'll show you guys in a minute, it has these little cotton things that'll go and clean the breech. Well, I think it's called the breech face. Over time, you'll learn the names, but sometimes you'll forget them, but that's all right. It'll clean that area right in here. Where the bullet goes. That part right there gets a lot of carbon from the bullet. So what you do is you'll take one of these and it'll go up against those grooves and clean it. So I'm gonna set this to the side. This brush, which I need a new one, I should have bought a new kit today too, is designed for that area. So what I'm going to do is take this tip off. Put this one on. Now be careful because it can get stuck. I panicked my first time cleaning my AR. I was like, oh no, it's going to get stuck in my barrel. I'm going to have to get a new barrel, but I got it out. Oh crap. Spilling stuff. That's all right. That's a good optic, hollow sound. And you'll put it in right here and just run it like that. It gets tight in there, so you just want to, your goal is to break up that carbon. And they recommend that you do that as often as possible because you don't want any issues right there from a carbon buildup. When you fire the gun, it's not going to function right, or it could, I don't know, maybe explode or something. I don't know. There's a little debris right there. So we did that, and I'll take this. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use this one. The next cleaning video, I will have a new kit because I think these wire brushes are done. You'll take this. And just turn it a little bit. And you'll see how much carbon comes out of here. It's ridiculous. And as you can see, it gets stuck. But no worries, because this kit comes with a little pick tool. Check that out. So if it gets stuck, just grab it, that pick tool, pull it out. And check this out. Look how much carbon's on there. So when you clean your bore, you know, you get all that stuff out. So that's done. What I also like to do is I like to clean that the window right here on the inside. So I already did that with the brush, but you know, a lot of debris gets right there too. So I'll take this rag and wipe the excess solvent off. And push that open, wipe the excess off. You don't need a lot, just a little bit. Okay. Now, my brush. I put a little bit of oil on here, even though I already have some, but I didn't put a lot. This stuff smells so good and it works great. I really didn't have to clean this gun, but I want to show you guys because it had a lot of oil. If you watch the beginning of the video, it still had a lot of oil in there. It doesn't burn that fast. And I'll just rub it in there. I'll make sure this window is closed, the dust cover, and I'll rub it in there. Just a little bit. Any excess I can just take off. Because there's a lot of friction that goes on in there. The bolt carrier group itself, when it's in there, it's going back and forth. When you put that in, you have to make sure that this is turned correctly. It's turned in the right direction. So let me do that real quick. Gotta make sure it's up there because it won't go in. So when you're firing your gun, it runs like that. So there's a lot of friction in there. That's why I said you want to oil the parts where there's friction. So that moves forward like that. Okay. So that's why I put some oil in there. I put a little bit too much, but that's okay. Just wipe it off and it'll last, you know. Now, I'll take this. You don't really have to do this, but if you want your charging handle to last, just hit it a little bit with oil. If you want the paint job to be nice, because some people buy like blue ones and I have the red one and all that good stuff. And you know, if you want it to last a little bit, you can hit it a little bit. And you could drop some oil in there. But since I don't want the oil to get all over the place, I'll use this, which is hops as well. And I'll use this little pin and I'll put a drop in there. You can always change these out. If you don't want it later on, if you want a black one or whatever, if you want a more expensive one, buy it, you know. So I'll put that right there. I'll rub it in, some oil. Just to keep it new. It's not gonna do anything. I'll cycle that a little bit since I put some oil in there. Get it worked in the grooves. And also too, there's always some debris right here, so I'll wipe it off. Just take a rag and wipe it off. This goes in first. So what you do is you put it just like that. Like that. You put your bolt carrier group in like that. I'm not a pro at this, but it has to be lined up correctly. Some people are fast at it. I'm just showing you guys right now. Okay, so it's like that. It's in that first groove. I'll take this and I'll put it in there. And voila, it's in there. Check that out. And that's that. Check the function of it. Push this to the side a little bit. Don't spill your supplies. Make sure you put the caps on it, because after a while, you know, you want to keep this stuff for as long as possible. And I'll take this, which already has oil on it. You don't have to soak this area. This is the heart of your gun. You just want to put a little bit of oil on here, you know, rub it in there on the springs. And that's all you got to do. You don't have to do anything fancy unless you want to. If you want to take everything apart, feel free. It's going to take you a while, but hey, it's your gun. Rub that right there. This is what I do. You don't have to do this, but this is what I do. I like my stuff to last for a long time. I don't want to have to keep buying this stuff. Oops, see, you got to be careful with that, but it wasn't a hard swing. It was just a little soft tap. But imagine if you just let it fly, it'll break that. So I'll hit that, hit the pins so they come out smooth. And that's that. It's all oiled up. As you can see, I got oil everywhere, but that's fine. The reason why I don't let that bother me is because I use my rag and I wipe the oil in on the lower and the upper, so that way, you know, if it rubs up against something, you know, it'll stay clean. It'll stay new or looking new. And I'll show you guys that. So we're gonna put it back together. Put that pin in first. It should spin like that. I'll show you from right here. It should spin. Close it down. Put that pin in. Cycle the gun. It's good to go. Cycle it one more time. Put the safety on. And for the excess oil, here's where I wipe in everything just to keep it looking nice and shiny. Nice and shiny. You don't have to do this. This is just something that I do. Like I said, in all my videos, I like my guns to look new, and I want them to look new for a while. And that's that. That's how you clean an AR-15. That's how you do maintenance on it. So, I hope this was something that a new gun person could use in the future. Please like, comment, subscribe. Feel free to share your ideas on what you do. Share your routines. What do you guys do to keep your guns clean? You know, I'm always learning. One thing I learned about this 2A community is we're always learning something new. We can never learn too much. So yeah, feel free to share how you clean your AR-15s. And for those of you who are new to the platform, you know, I hope this video could serve you right and show you how to clean these things. There's a lot of other videos, of course. So please like, comment, share. Feel free to share my videos, all my videos. And most importantly, subscribe and share some more. Share my videos, guys. Let's get it out there. I got a lot of good ideas. So like, comment, subscribe, and thank you guys for tuning in. It's Gambini, the Gunman. Have a good night.